Hi everyone, I'm Diksha from SVCE and today we're going to talk about data types, variables, and arrays in Java. In today's video, we're going to go through these topics. First, introduction to Java, data types, variables, dynamic initialization, scope and lifetime of variables, type conversion and casting, incompatible types, arrays, multidimensional arrays. Java is a strongly typed language. Every variable has a type and every expression has a type. Every type is strictly defined. All assignments, explicit or implicit, are checked for type compatibility in Java. Data types in Java. There are two kinds of data types: primitive data types and non primitive data types or reference data types. In primitive data types, there are 8 primitive data types. First is Boolean, second is char for character, third is byte, short, int, and long for integer, and then we have float and double data types for floating integers. In the non-primitive data types, we have arrays, class, interfaces, string, and enum. Variables. Variables are the basic unit of storage in Java, defined as combination of identifier, a type, and optical initializer. The syntax for declaring variables is here: type, identifier, and the value we are supposed to initialize. Here are a few examples of variables. The first example, A, B, and C are the variables, and int is the data type. So A, B, and C are the variables of int data type which are not initialized with any value. But in the second example, we have D and F variables of integer data type which are initialized with 3 and 15 values, whereas E is not initialized. In the third example, we have Z variable of byte data type which is initialized with the value of 22. Similarly, here P1 is variable of double data type which is initialized with the value of 3.1459. Dynamic initialization. Initializing a value to the variable as a result of a calculation is called as dynamic initialization. Here is an example. In this example code, we can see three initializations where A and B are statically initialized, which means the values of A and B are already initialized directly. But in case of the third one, whereas the C, it is initialized as a calculation of A into B, which is going to be calculated, and the output of the calculation is going to be initialized as value of C. That is called as dynamic initialization. Scope and lifetime of variables. When we initialize variables in a Java program, to what extent that variables can be accessed and for how long is called as scope and lifetime of variables. Let us look at it with an example. In this example code, in this example code, we have int x, or the variable x is initialized with the value of 100 under the main function. This value can be accessed throughout the whole program, which means till here. So that is the scope of the variable x. Whereas when we look at the variable y, it is initialized inside this block of code under the if statement, which is going to be accessed only inside this block. If we try to access this variable outside this if block, it's going to show us an error. Type conversion and casting. Java does automatic conversions when one type of data is assigned to another data type if following conditions are met. The conditions are the two types are compatible, and the second one is the destination type is larger than the source type. If these two conditions are met, then the type conversion can be easily done. Here is an example. Here, the int data type is smaller than the long data type, and int d can be initialized to k easily. Casting incompatible types. Narrowing conversion. Use cast, which is explicit type conversion value. Here, when we have to initialize a larger data type to the smaller data type, it is not it is not possible without the explicit type conversion. Hence, it is done this way. Here is an example. We can initialize byte to int easily as int is larger than byte. But to initialize int to byte, we need to do a explicit type conversion, which is done this way. Arrays. Arrays is a group of like type variables that are referred to by a common name. Arrays are initialized this way: the data type, the array name, and square brackets. We can mention the size of the array we want inside the square brackets. Like here, we have an array month days of data type int of size 12, and these are the index values of the data which is going to be stored inside the array. When we print a particular index value, a particular index in the array, the value of that index is going to be printed. Here is a simpler way of initializing values to the array to avoid multiple lines of code. Multidimensional arrays. Multidimensional arrays or two-dimensional arrays consist of two sizes, which is probably going to be as a matrix. Here we have an example of multidimensional array. We are going to initialize the array using the for loops as shown in this example, and declaring the array is same as the single dimensional array. Here is the output. Thank you.